So we would have things that we call field reports, which is when you go out and then you explain what you did, explain what went wrong. Oh yeah, it was like a whole thing.
It's like a fucking class.
Yeah, it was literally a class.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's your host Ray.
And this is Max.
And this is Drunk Words, Drunk Thoughts, where we give you great stories, great advice, and we do drinks.
Yeah.
For those of you with the keen eye at home, these are steel straws.
Yeah.
We're upgrading every day on the channel, you know? But we do have a little story time for you guys today. But before we jump into that, Max, cheers, buddy.
Cheers, man.
What are we drinking today, Max?
We're drinking the Arizona Blackout. Disclaimer, there's a lot of alcohol in it.
There's a lot of alcohol in this.
And then we'll have the link to the video right over here showing you how to do it.
All right, so let's jump into the story. Max, let me say to you real quick.
Yeah.
The story today is how the game helped you find yourself.
Yeah.
All right, let me get comfortable.
All right. All right. So, and when we're mentioning the game, we're talking about, getting ladies or, getting acclimated, I guess, to meeting up, hooking up with, and talking to ladies in general.
Okay.
Right? So, my journey, when this whole thing started, was because I always felt like I was super, super shy. And every time I would go ahead and, talk to someone, it would be like a big, big deal. And because of that, it would be like a build-up point, right? Because I'm like, man, it's hard to get that person's attention. It's hard to actually have a conversation. And at the end of the day, you're making this idea in your mind that, okay, I'm pretty nice, I'm pretty okay. And then you're putting all your eggs in that one basket only for that to fail. And then when it fails, then you feel so awful that you go to school, you go home, and you're like, okay, you just sit down and you're like, oh, I don't understand what I did wrong and whatnot.
Yeah. So get in your head.
Get in your head. But then that cycle will happen every time because I was persistent. So what would happen was that would happen. I would feel like that for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe a month, and then I'd find another lady I started talking to at high school, and then do the same thing all over again.
Yeah.
Right. So that's where I was like, hey, you know what? I need to figure out either a system or what the hell am I doing wrong? And I knew the first thing was beating the shyness, and that's where I decided to say, hey, I'm gonna get some help. So I started researching some books, and I started reading some stuff.
So these books you're researching, were these the ads that play for 5 minutes before a YouTube video, and it's the book of knowledge can help you? I used to mind control women, and there's 7 different types of mind control that I can use. And it's those books, right?
No, it's not those books, because those books that's more the advanced stuff now. Because basically, a quick story about the game in general. There was a book called The Game.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So it's actually the game book.
Yeah. So
you didn't write it. We didn't write it.
No.
This is the book.
This is the book. It's called The Game, and basically there was a community that we called the P-Ways, which is pickup artists, and then from there, there was a branch off because there was the guys that were the originator of that, and then there's the new wave now. That's why you're seeing all those videos now. Now it's in the mainstream. So that's the new wave. But I'm talking about before, just before it hit the internet sort of deal. It was we're all dealing with forums. So you were talking to people, and they would say, hey, I have this issue, and people will come in and say, hey, you should be doing this, should be doing that, should be testing this, should be testing that.
Yeah.
And from there, I was telling my stories, and then after that, people would critique it literally. So we would have things that we call field reports, which is when you go out and then you explain what you did, explain what went wrong. Oh yeah, it was like a whole thing.
It's like a fucking class.
Yeah, it was literally a class.
This is the lab. How did the lab go?
Yeah, so at first you get all the knowledge from the book, and the book was very structured. Hey, an approach starts with this, that, and the third, and whatever, and then eventually you branch off to just doing your own thing when you start doing those field reports, right? funny part with those is like obviously you got people that you can read their things and then they're just there for like to chase clout. They're just like, hey, I've done this, and this girl was super hot. I picked her, and then I came back. So
just there to brag.
Yeah, they're just there to brag. Me, it was more so, hey, I wanted to like project my story and have somebody to say just by reading it, and then as me putting the details of my failures, what I did right, what I did wrong, and then having someone say, okay, well, it's good, but like you should have done this, you should have done that.
Kind of like a mentor.
Okay. Yeah.
Through these forums.
Exactly. So and that's the other point I wanted to touch out is because I picked the one book and I didn't read anything else because when you realize about this community is there's a lot, like especially now, there's a lot of books that will say contradictory information.
Okay.
Right?
So one tells you approach a certain way, and other one's like, absolutely not. Don't approach that way at all.
Well, perfect example. One of the rules that they came out with was like, you know, if you have anxiety about talking to people, is that you should go right, like basically you should have a count in your head. It's 3 seconds, you go 1, 2, and 3, and then you go. Which is great. But now that I've evolved, sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't, because I pick up on cues. I'm not just doing it as if it's an action, because I don't have to do it anymore. But anyway, all that to say that the funny part about all of this is that the more I was like invested in, okay, now it's working. Hey, I got a couple phone numbers. Hey, now it's changing into like a text game, or it's changing into like a phone game, which I'm pretty good at now.
Yeah.
And the more I've learned that basically all this focus I was putting on like, okay, like I want to get like a lady because I feel like that would complete me or that will do whatever. It actually got me to focus on me more. Like I realized all of that quote unquote success I got it because like I got better with myself. I got better with my body. I got better with talking in general. I got better jobs as well because I was able to communicate better. So when you're in an interview and then you're not shy about like, okay, well, what do you bring to your company?
And you can talk about yourself.
Right. Instead of just not knowing, now you can be like, well, hey, I've done this, I've done that, I spoke to this amount of clients. I worked at the parliament, I've done and then all of that, and then they can see the confidence. They can be like, okay, we can send this guy out. He can present himself and be there.
He can be our guy.
He can be like a brand ambassador or whatnot, which is essentially like what I'm kind of doing with the IT.
All right, Drake.
One of the things that you learn as well as you go through this journey is that you're completely shattering whatever comfort zone you have, because you have to. You're essentially, it's kind of like, I don't know how I would call it, maybe like being reborn or something. But yeah, this entire thing, right? So you get to practice, right? Because at first I came from the book, obviously. So I'm thinking, okay, I got to do step this, step that, whatever, right? Yeah, all the steps, yep. And then now, as much as you practice is as much as you don't even look at the book anymore. You don't even do anything because you're like, okay, well, I have the confidence now to go out.
The confidence, the field experience, the results.
The results, right? And the results come, and that's the joke of it all. Is that the results come the minute you don't care about the outcome.
Yeah.
So you're doing all this work because you're like, I'm gonna get to an outcome, and then you get some. I got some experience. It was cool. But when I got the actual success was when I was like, okay, it's not about like appealing to girls. It's about me being comfortable in what I'm doing. And then for me, yeah, I'm a talker, but I like to dance as well. So what worked for me is to say, hey, I can go out and not care about anyone because at this point, like this is my stage. So I do what I gotta do. And then I got people coming out to me and saying, hey, you're amazing. Hey, I'll buy you a drink. Hey, I'll do this. Hey, I'll do that. It took like those baby steps to find out that at the end of it all, yeah, it's all about your confidence. It's all about how you, like what you bring to the table. And the most important thing is don't be attached to the outcome. Whenever you're talking to someone, even like a job offer is the same thing. You go in and you're not thinking, okay, I'll be making this amount of money, my bills are gonna be paid, I'm gonna be getting, like, the minute you think like that, you go in, it's almost like people can feel that. They don't know what's wrong, but they're like, I don't know what's wrong. Like, qualification to good, I have a bad feeling about this guy.
Yeah.
And they can't even point it out.
Yeah.
And girls in general, they're a lot better than us in picking that up. So if you're attached emotionally to what could happen, they'll tell their girlfriend right away and be like, I don't know, he's cute, but there's just something about him. I don't want him around. So yeah, just focus on yourself, be the best man you can, and then talk to everyone. Not just girls. Talk to old ladies, talk to old men, it doesn't matter. And then you get so comfortable in doing it. In
the communication, yeah.
The communication skills that it's just second nature. And then now, even if it's a girl you like or
you're not
whatever.
Gonna freeze up, you're less likely to freeze
Yeah, you're
up.
just like, okay, hey, I'm having a conversation. It's super natural. You progress with them, and then even there's rejection, you're like, okay, no biggie, there's other people, and then you keep pushing. And as a last point, and I guess a little disclaimer too, is as much as you're doing, you're talking to people as well, eventually you're gonna be good at filtering people. Yeah. So you're gonna be very, very good at saying, hey, this guy I spoke to doesn't bring anything. He doesn't understand what I'm about. Maybe he sees me as a drinking buddy or just like a dancing buddy or whatever. Or maybe he's just straight a dick. Then you put him in his life. And then for chicks, it's the same thing. You'll talk to some amazing ladies and then, hey, she brings value to my life. She understands what I'm about. I understand what she brings to the value. And then cool, maybe we can progress it to something. Maybe I'll date her. Or maybe we'll just hook up. Or maybe it could be something. Or maybe she could just be friends.
Or maybe her name's Sarah.
Maybe. Just pointing it out. But point being is by doing so, and then putting your value up, people that have high value as well recognize other people that have value, and then they're gonna stick around. And then those people are gonna value what you bring to the table. You're gonna value what they bring to the table, and then the more you do that, then the more the bad experiences, yeah, they'll piss you off and whatnot, and they can tell you a lot about it, but you're not dwelling around like I was doing in high school for 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
I'll be frustrated for a couple of days and be like, okay, but I'm Max, what's up? It doesn't matter.
But you have the short-term memory, right?
Yeah, exactly. So and that's a big point. It's just eventually the filtering process will naturally happen. And then the more you do it, the more it's fun, and then the more you're not sticking to that formula, and then you build your own sort of system. So now if I'm explaining that to someone, right, they'll say, oh my God, it's great. But they need to come to their realization that maybe that's not the path that they need. Yeah. I can give them pointers and say, hey, be comfortable, maybe travel out of the country if you have to, get a different perspective in life. So when you come back, you can be like, okay, I don't have to be the guy that I don't like to be. Right? Because traveling for me, that's what it did too. It's just I was like, okay, well, if I'm so fun over there, why can I not be fun here? What is the blockage here? And it's the same thing. When you don't get a result, always look into yourself. Why? Because if you look outside, what happens is that you get the victim mentality, and unfortunately with that, a victim needs other people to fix what's going on, right? If my car got hit right now, then I have to deal with the insurance, I have to deal with whatever, because the driver drove away, right? So there's nothing I can do to do it. I have to rely on someone to freaking come in and then do whatever. Mm-hmm. But instead, when it's in your life, the best you can, try to always say, okay. Because for me, what I always try to say first is, okay, this is my fault. And then I try to look at the fault, because if I can find something, that means that I can correct it, and then I can get better results. So when it comes to talking to people, even hooking up girls, or even trying to date them or whatever, if something along the way goes bad, then I always look at the entire either conversation or story or whatever, and I always say to myself, okay, what have you done wrong here? What can you prevent so next time I get better, right? Because you I always try, and everyone should try to reach perfection, knowing that it can't be attained, but that way you can obtain excellence.
Yep.
And excellence is pretty good.
Hey, wise words from a wise man.
Trying.
That's good, man. It's good advice.
Yeah.
Good advice. Good story.
Yeah.
Hey, man. happy you're a better version of yourself.
There you go.
And all it took was you trying to figure out the opposite sex, which is, you know, something people have been trying to do for fucking millennia. So, I mean, yeah. You got something out of it.
Exactly, right?
All right. Well, guys, thanks so much for joining us for a story time here. Hopefully you guys took something away from that, and you, like Max, if you're in a similar situation, are able to tell us in the comments. And, you know, maybe you grew from being shy at one point in your life, or, you know, going on this journey like Max did, and trying to figure out, like, the conundrum that is the opposite sex. Only to kind of have this introspective and turn it inside on yourself and be like, man, you know, I could be a better version of me. You know? And then when I'm a better version of me and I'm projecting that out into the world, naturally, good things are going to happen.
Exactly.
So some could say, you know, you're staying positive.
Exactly.
This is another video. Go check that out. But I'm Ray.
This is Max.
And this is Drunk Words, Drunk Thoughts. Please, guys, if you haven't already, like this video. We appreciate that a lot. In addition to that, please subscribe. We're on our road to 100 subscribers, so help us get there. And what do we do with the notification bell?
We hit the bell. Let's go.
So thanks so much, guys. We're out.
Cheers.